Hey, what's up everybody? Yeti Nope TV here, bringing y'all some Scroll Cup content. As I've seen so far in this cup, there's a lot of Mandibuzz, a lot of Charmers, and a lot of Gastrodon mud slapping. So it's a bit of a tricky team to build, or like a tricky meta to build around with some spice. But we will not be phased on this channel. We've got our channel mascot, the ShinyShadow Machamp. Using a newly buffed move even, we swapped Cross Chop out for Dynamic Punch, otherwise known as the Meister. Here we can see in this kind of like team design graphic. We've got Over the Hedge, or our Shadow Skuntank, who is unfortunately still frustrated, but I've built him anyways. Thank you, I forget whose name it was, but somebody mentioned to build a Skuntank and Drapion. So this is us diving into that adventure. And then we've got Shadow Hariyama with Force Palm. And then in this first matchup, Morpeko on lead. Morpeko is in our sights this entire video. We are here to hunt. They save swap out into a Gastrodon, but I'm going to put the Meister to the test here and see if they can tank and win the Zero Shields against that Gastrodon, and we do. That was incredible. They come in, get the charm down with this Gallade, but now I should be able to just throw away my entire Skuntank, give up one shield, and hopefully get the KO, but it's probably going to be like a simultaneous KO. But all we need to do is deal with this Gallade, and then the Hariyama can sweep in the back. We've got one shield to hide behind, and look at how much these Force Palms are doing into this Morpeko. We respect the damage. If it's a Psychic Fangs, we don't need to respect it. It only does like maybe 60% or so. But we give the shield, the opponent knows it's over, and that is game one of this video. This team, insane, I've got to be honest. With the meta that we've got running around, we are just so weak to almost everything that's out there. But the Meister on lead, I'm of the opinion that there are no bad matchups. This one, notably, pretty bad matchup, right? But we can get to this Dynamic Punch, threaten a potential one-shot, or pull a shield. So regardless of how it plays out, Machamp can always pull some sort of an advantage for us. And now, with the Shadow Skuntank, we can come in, give up one shield, maybe two if we get unlucky, and go for a full farm down and have a monumental amount of energy to threaten whatever it is that's in back. They don't get to another move. I don't know what they're going to bring in. It's a Mandibuzz, which is pretty brutal for us because, again, we're frustrated. We don't have a move to threaten that Mandibuzz. But then in comes Morpeko, and we're going to see the bulk of this Pokemon. Look at that, only 60%. We live it, and I don't know if you guys noticed it because Hariyama is thick, blocking the screen, but it's a Snarl Mandibuzz, so they deal zero fast move pressure. So we're going to get this Dynamic Punch, get to this second Dynamic Punch after giving up a shield, but again, we are not at risk of being farmed down here because they're running Snarl, so we can build up even more, throw this Dynamic Punch, deal some insane damage to this Mandibuzz. Dynamic Punch hits pretty hard from Hariyama, not as hard as Machamp, but the Force Palms really add up, whereas the Karate Chops don't add up as much on Machamp. And now we have put them in range for our Trailblaze, which is a resisted move to get the KO on this Mandibuzz. So again, tricky lead with the Machamp into the Charmer, but there are no bad matchups for the Meister. He always finds a way to get us some sort of an advantage where possible, regardless of the lead. Once again, a Charmer on lead. It's the Shadow Gallade. They actually might respect this, even though it's resisted, as we did build up a little bit. We built up past the Cross Chop, so they might be fearing that, or they might just be respecting the Cross Chop. So they get the shield, but now, once again, we can come in, farm down, get denied even with the Shadow Skuntank, and then go from there. So let's see what the opponent wants to do. They're not swapping out, they're staying in. We get the farm down, they live on 1 HP, and then they get another charm, which is a little bit brutal. And then in comes a Morpeko again, and then it's a Shiftry in back, so we can go for the full farm down. This was an insane backline to have the Hariyama hiding in back. We can go for the full farm down, shield the Leaf Blade, get this Dynamic Punch off immediately, because we don't want to risk them being able to KO us before we pull that last shield. And now, we're doing so much fast move pressure that they cannot build up a ton of extra energy. We would get the farm down before they get to back-to-back moves, so they boost their attack, hoping for a potential farm down, but it's too late. We've already got the move banked, And then I wasn't sure if I wanted to undercharge it. I just wanted to get rid of that Morpeko. Morpeko is mortal enemy number 1 in this league, but we have successfully built a team, seemingly, that deals with it pretty well. And then we haven't had too much issues yet with the Mud Slappers. Toxapex has been showing up more and more in the past couple of days. But again, Shadow Machamp can threaten Toxapex pretty well with that Stone Edge. And then we've got the Skuntank just in case if we need to clean up that Toxapex. Once again, a Brionne. Same deal as before. Gonna build up to the Dynamic Punch, go for it. And if the opponent doesn't respect this, it is going to hurt. So let's see how it goes. They do respect it, so it plays out the exact same way as before. But now, we just do the same thing. Come in with the Skuntank, give up a shield, get denied again. So hopefully that is not impactful and they don't get to a second move. But they swap out. So we throw this Trailblaze, double super effective coming from a Shadow Skuntank. And it doesn't KO. That hurts so much. So I panic, swap into the Hariyama, give up a shield here. So I think I was just kind of frazzled in this moment, realizing that they lived that. They come back in with the Brionne, but we're going for the full farm down. And let's see what they have in back. And it is, oh shoot, I forget this guy's name, but it's a grass fighting type with Vine Whip. And it's shiny at that. But they get the full farm down. And even if we had a better move to throw, it's game over. They can get to the Thunder Punch or the Superpower before we can get to the move to KO this Pokemon. They even throw the Frenzy Plant. We live it, but not enough to get to a move. So, oh my god, if that Trailblaze had KO'd that Wishcash, that game was ours to win. Or if we just stayed in with the Skuntank, shielded the Mud Bomb, and went for the full farm down with that Pokemon instead of swapping out in the panic moment, we would have won that. So again, blunder on our part. We end up finding the lose con in that battle, but that is A-okay. Now we've got a Blastoise on lead. This is pretty good for us. We outpace, we take resisted damage from these rollouts, and we can tank one Hydro Cannon if needed. The opponent respects the damage. I have found a lot of people respected cross chops. Nobody respected dynamic punches. So in a matchup where somebody would shield, if it was a cross chop, they would shield, but nobody respected. Like Gastrodons especially did not respect the dynamic punch. They swap into a Liepard with Charm. So I want to deal some chip damage with the Hariyama here and put it in range to farm down with the Skuntank. And that is exactly what we do. We've got a little bit of health left on our Hariyama, and we can get to this Trailblaze in time on the CMP tie of the Body Slam with that energy lead that we gained. One-shot this Gastrodon, and then now we should be able to take care of this Blastoise. Not going to shield this. We're putting all of our chips on Hariyama. We can get to this Dynamic Punch on the CMP tie and then KO this Blastoise. We had a shield left anyways if needed. So we had that in the bag however way it went. If they outpace us to the move, we still got the dub. But then bam, first set 4-1. Overall, I think today I had like 2 3-2s and then a couple of other pretty good sets that we'll see here today. But we went super positive and we hit ace just now. That's crazy. So we're into the actual ranks now. Let's go. Welcome to the big leagues. We're going sky high this season, and I'm hoping that you guys see us do it. Tricky lead here in the beginning. Again, we do outpace to the first move, but Swampert's got a bit better pacing for that second move. So they could have played a CMP tie, but they don't. They went for the overfarm. But again, we can threaten a one-shot. They don't know it's a dynamic punch. They thought it was a cross chop. They respected it. And then now, I'm just going to let the Pokemon go down, come in, go for a full farm down with the shield given up with the Hariyama, because I realized that our fast move pressure from the Machamp just wasn't quite enough to set us up for success. But the Hariyama, with the Force Palm, does. So now, if they bring in a Pokemon that is weak or neutral to fighting, we can threaten some insane damage. And then we build up this Dynamic Punch, we throw it, they respect it, and it looks like they're getting greedy, and they build up to a CMP tie that they lose, and we get this Dynamic Punch off for free, which is incredible. And now, they've got another Shiftry in back, so a lot of Shiftry respecters today. I'm a huge fan of that. I don't think I have a Shadow Shiftry available to build, which is a huge downer for me. I've got some shiny ones that are pretty good IVs that I could run, but just none of the Shadows, which is unfortunate. Into the next battle, more Pekko on lead. Great matchup for us. They bail out into this low kicks, and once again, they're not going to respect a cross chop. We didn't build up to the close combat or the stone edge, so we one shot with a dynamic punch. This dynamic punch is paying dividends right now. And then now we can pull a shield because now the opponent knows that they absolutely have to respect this damage. And then hot swap out into the Skunk tank, respect a Skull Bash potentially because they've got a ton of energy. We do respect the Skull Bash, give them a shield. It's just the Sparkling Aria. Now we go for the CMP tie on this second Sparkling Aria with the Trailblaze. Pull the last shield, no shield. Skunk tank, it's time to tank this damage. Take this Sparkling Aria, bait the Morpeko back out. But if they get greedy, we get to another Trailblaze. So they throw on the CMP tie, maximizing their farm. But it is not enough. I can come in with the Machamp, do the same deal, force them to throw. And then it is Hariyama's time to sweep. Check that out. Got denied again. Game state is in total shambles. But again, it is what it is. Don't want to complain too much. Now we come in with the Hariyama, get the farm down, and then we can just go for the farm down if we want, but we get this dynamic punch, and the opponent concedes the match as we get to that move. So Hariyama, as our closer, once again, proving his mettle and making the build of him worth it. Into this next battle. And again, Hariyama, not a Pokemon you often see. I've been pretty happy with the bulk that he's got, and the Force Palm fast move pressure is just pretty killer. I've been a huge fan. This opponent, great lead again, Morpeko, but they safe swap into a Sableye. So I throw this dynamic punch. They don't respect it, so they are so weak. So I go for the catch of this potential Dazzling Gleam onto our Skunk tank, but it's just a foul play. So I'm going for the full farm down now. They get to a move, but I don't want to give up shields because it's a Morpeko in back, and this is technically our worst matchup into Morpeko. So I let it go, and there's the Gleam. So now we've got our Machamp, and it is a Toxapex in back. So that is so brutal. This is not going to be one of those games that we can play out of the Toxapex matchup. Again, dealing insane damage with that Stone Edge, but there's just not enough health on the Machamp to get to another move. So now we just have no momentum. The opponent has energy. They've got the pacing of the Morpeko in back, and they've got the resistance to this fighting type damage in this matchup. So we cannot go for the full farm down. So after I throw this move, I do believe that it's just game over. If they had no shielded that, we could have come back potentially and gotten the full farm down on Morpeko. But even Morpeko's fast move damage might have added up enough there to KO the Hariyama. Apologies about that voice crack. That was tough. But again, we've got the Gastrodon on lead, and let's see if they respect the dynamic punch. Because as I ran Cross Chop at the end of last season, I started to realize that a lot of Gastrodons stopped respecting the Cross Chop. But they do not respect the Dynamic Punch, and we almost get the full farm down. That might have been damage registration error, I'm not too sure. And they still baited, so I don't know what they're doing. And now in comes the Gallade. We can get to this Dynamic Punch. Let's see if the opponent respects this damage. And they do. It's a non-Shadow Gallade this time. So we're going to come in with the Skunk tank, and again, stick to the plan. Give up a shield, go for a full farm down, and then see if the Hariyama can sweep in the back. Let's see how this goes. If the opponent swaps out, we've got to be ready to swap out as well. But we were going to get farm down actually there, so we swap out into the Hariyama, get an energy lead, and then in comes the Morpeko, so we can go for this KO. If they go for an R wheel, it'll KO, which they do correctly go for. But now, the Skunk tank can get the farm down, and the Skunk tank can get the farm down on the Gallade. So maybe we weren't going to get farmed down by the Gallade there. I'm not too sure. I think I was expecting a Morpeko in the back because I think I'd seen a similar team comp earlier in the day. So I wanted to get that Hariyama in as quickly as possible just to help with our timing against that Morpeko in back. Once again, Gastrodon on lead. Let's see if they respect this damage. And nobody does. It's crazy. And they instantly bail out into what, another Sableye. So at this point, we might play this a little bit better because we know that that failed matchup with our Skunk tank into the Sableye in our previous battle came back to bite us in the end. So let's see how we play out of this one. They bait us with the foul play. That is fine for me. Get to this Trailblaze. Let's see if the opponent respects this damage. And they don't, which is huge for us. They just threw away so much energy. But then it's an Annihilate in back. Oh my god, so this is horrible for us. I prefer to have this on my Machamp, if any of my fighters, because I can threaten with Stone Edge. But now, they're going to build up a ton of extra energy and put us in a really tricky spot. But I believe their shield's down now. They go for the undercharge. I'm getting out immediately. I don't want them to build up more energy. And I shield this Rage Fist because I know that Gastrodon only has a Body Slam. So I'm building up. I didn't even have a move yet, so this opponent's not going for a catch necessarily, but like I guess more of a snipe. But the Body Slam doesn't do enough. And then the opponent denies us from the only opportunity that we had in all of our battle sets to actually throw Heavy Slam. That was the only time I've thrown Heavy Slam, and they forfeited on us. And then we got a free encounter with Public Enemy number 1, my personal nemesis right now, Morpeko. And then now we're done with the battle sets, and we're into the highlight reels. These are just, once again, fun battles that we picked out of from random battle sets. They were all still positive, but just we didn't have enough time in one video to go through every single battle set. Morpeko on lead actually staying in this time. And they go for an Aura Wheel. So again, they're not even baiting. And then now they come in with a Toxapex. And here we get to see the work that Machamp can put in against Toxapex. Stone Edge does almost half of its HP. And now we can safely swap into the Skuntank, tank any one move that they throw. And they go for the Brine. So we can throw this Trailblaze. And if they want to respect this, they're going to have to give up their, their first shield. And then if they get greedy, which they do, we get to this second Trailblaze. And we get to potentially KO this Toxapex. So they give up their second shield. So I'm done with Skuntank. And I'm moving on to a potential Hariyama farm down against this Toxapex. And they come in with a Chestnut. And we might be able to outpace now, but we don't outpace. So now, gotta respect this damage. Might be a superpower. It is a superpower. Gonna build up a little bit of extra energy. Go for the one shot with this Dynamic Punch. And now we should be able to go for the farm down against the Morpeko and the Toxapex. So 2 Force Palms takes out the rest of the Toxapex. And that gave us enough energy to not even need to farm down this Toxapex. We can throw this Dynamic Punch and KO it with resisted charge move damage. So just absolute momentum game for Hariyama. Getting a 3-for-1 sweep. Again, on chipped Pokemon, to be fair. But nope. Hariyama with the 3-0 KD in that battle. Absolutely mental. Incredible lead for us in this next battle. Machamp into Dugong. And they swap into a Gastrodon. So once again, building up, throwing a Dynamic Punch. I dare you to respect it. And they don't. Nobody respected this damage. And I know that I can live this. And I've got the Hariyama in back for that, Dugong. And we've got the Skuntank, which can also threaten that Pokemon. So now, let's see what the opponent wants to come in with. And it is an Air Slash Mandibuzz, and we get to this move. I don't know if that was damage registration or like one turn bring in, but that is huge for us. Now we can come in, tank this damage on the Skuntank, and if they let this Pokemon get too low, we can go for a full farm down even with our Hariyama in back, even though it's a bad matchup for us. But they swap into the Dugong, even though we've got a ton of energy. We outpace to this second Trailblaze, and now if they want to save this Dugong, they've got to give us both shields, and we can respect this damage to keep it alive for the Mandibuzz in back. Again, just to soak some damage, throw one Poison Jab, swap into the Hariyama, tank this damage that's coming in, because Hariyama can eat this like it's breakfast. It does not threaten to KO. And now we get the full farm down. The opponent tries to snipe us. We get this Dynamic Punch off. It's going to KO the Mandibuzz. And then now we can farm down the Dugong in back. So that saving of that Skuntank, completely unnecessary. But I guess it's good to keep your Pokemon alive because we want to build up that friendship status with them. We are a nice trainer to these Pokemon. And then into, I believe, what is like our last or second to last battle, Mandibuzz on lead. So here we get to see how good Machamp can be in these neutral matchups. We get to the Stone Edge, or not neutral, but negative matchups. Dealing potentially super effective damage with the Stone Edge. The opponent respects it. So now I sneak the move through so I know that I can get to a Dynamic Punch against this Mandibuzz. And if they know their counts, we deal pretty solid neutral damage. And if they don't know their counts, we get both shields. So we get the second shield. So the opponent is shields down against our double shadow backline. Gonna come in, soak some damage with the Skunk Tank. But ultimately, we cannot KO this Mandibuzz with our current moveset because we only have Trailblaze. The other move is Frustration, and it is abysmal. So I'm going to tank this damage once again, and then probably immediately swap into the Hariyama and go for an aggressive farm down with this Pokemon. And then in comes a Brionne. So now we can one-shot this Pokemon with this Dynamic Punch coming in, go for more farm against this Mandibuzz, and we even, we don't get the KO, but we give the shield to let Hariyama take the matchup. Let's go. Oh, and they had a more Morpeko back. They had a whole other Pokemon, but we've got enough health to hang on and get to this second Dynamic Punch, and that is enough to KO. Let's go. Hariyama going on an absolute tear in these highlight battles. And yeah, looks like that wraps it up for us. These were some insane battles to run with this team. I was not expecting to be as successful as we were. As you could see with the title of the team, it was like, surely this might work or whatever. I'm not sure. But tons and tons of fun. I've got some more Scroll Cup content coming y'all's way. And I've got even more videos of this team that I might send over to Jamie over at the Shadow Hub on his channel. If he's got space for Shoutcast right now. I'm not too sure. He's been pretty busy uploading, so we'll see how it goes. But this team, tons and tons of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope y'all enjoy your St. Patty's Day weekend. It should be fun out there. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And this has been YetiNope TV, and I will see y'all later this weekend for another upload for the Scroll Cup. Have a nice day. See ya.